Hello, everyone, and welcome to 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your host this morning, Logan Landers, and today I'm going to be doing a special NFL Draft Prospect look at Jalen Wydermyer, the tight end from Texas A&M with the Aggies. So be sure if you enjoyed this video or this podcast episode to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and also leave a review. We go live each and every single week on Facebook and YouTube. We have an amazing podcast with multiple uploads per day, right, with over close to 700 episodes. We have an Instagram account with clips of each and every show. And like I said, we go live on Facebook and YouTube. So we have a ton of videos, over 1,000 on YouTube now, and 1,000 plus. I don't even know how many are on Facebook. So there is a ton of content. I'm talking about even more draft prospect specials, recruiting specials, history specials, looking at teams and players from the past, legends interviews with men who have won NFL championships, Super Bowls, NCAA championships, some of high school's greatest players of all time, and also fellow sports broadcasters. So please be sure to give us a like, a comment, share the show, let them know what all we're doing, and be sure to follow us and subscribe so you don't miss an episode, because we have a ton of content that comes out each and every week, close to 20 videos. So Jalen Wydermyer, right, the tight end from Texas A&M, decided in December of 2021 to finally go into the NFL draft, forgoing his senior season. And this guy is probably the definition of consistency. So over his 3 years at Texas A&M, 2019, right, freshman season, 32 catches, 447 yards, 6 touchdowns. So not a bad start to his career. He averaged 14 yards per catch. In 2020, 46 catches, 506 yards, 11 yards per catch with another 6 touchdowns. And this past year in 2021, he had 40 catches for 515 yards, a 12.9 average per catch, and 4 touchdowns. So, I mean, that's pretty consistent, I would say. So, pretty much idea numbers and pretty much identical numbers throughout his entire 3 seasons. This guy is obviously a pass catching threat, if you couldn't tell. This past season, obviously, he led the way he had the most receiving yards of his career, over 500. And for someone who's gotten, 4 to 6 touchdowns per season, that's not too shabby. Standing at 6'5", 255, 265, just depends. He's done a great job at Texas A&M. There's a reason, right? There is a very big reason that this guy was a 2-time All-SEC selection and also a Mackey Award finalist in 2021. He was a staple in the Texas A&M offense, like I said. He was a threat in the red zone and just an overall just a solid player throughout his entire tenure. There's a reason this guy has been a very good pass catcher, right? Top 10 all time in terms of receiving touchdowns throughout the entire Aggies programs. He ranks 8th on the list right now, right behind Mike Evans, who's doing his thing right now in Tampa Bay. So Jalen has a lot of hype around him. And I think that a guy who's a great playmaker, he's not going to be asked to block a whole lot. That's the one place he really struggles at, is he's not the greatest blocking tight end. But when you look at his athletic ability, his amazing catching, and just his physical tools, it makes up for it in the passing game, because this guy does not drop many passes. He's got a ton of quickness for a guy his size at 6'5", and he's a threat in the red zone, right? There's a lot of guys who can do good in open field, but they struggle in the end. They struggle in the red zone. Jalen is not like that at all. And he played 3 seasons at Texas A&M, had a great run, got some. He got like I said, I mentioned the 2-time All-SEC selection. So that lets you know that he was playing against the best of the best. And I think that this guy, he's got a big frame, is an easy target. A lot of guys are going to love him in the NFL for whatever team he heads to. I think he's going to be a starter. I think he's going to be a really good piece. I don't know if he's going to be the focal point for a team, but I think that he is going to offer some really good versatility on whatever team drafts him. He's played good against a lot of good teams. Like I said, the SEC, you got to have some good talent, and Jalen definitely does. Probably one of the best pass catchers in this upcoming draft. Very natural. He's not the most explosive runner, but he's a very crisp route runner. So he might not get there the quickest, but he is going to run the route to perfection pretty much all the time, and that's what you like to see from the big guy. Like I said, very versatile, very tough. He's a very tough guy. He throws everything he can to get the ball, to break through tackles and do some stiff arms and everything. And He's really just a solid tight end overall. Like I said, the only thing he can improve on is that blocking. But other than that, he's got great football IQ. He's got amazing hands, good rack, right, run after catch, and this guy has good big playability, obviously, right? With averaging close to 13 yards per reception over his 3 years. That's a big play guy, right? That's the one you can look at on third and long and not be afraid to throw it up to the big man. And also in the red zone, right? Like I mentioned, he's 6'5". He's got some good size on him. He's going to be a tough threat for whatever cornerback, whatever safety is going to be covering him. So I think that this guy is going to be a good pick, probably a second round draft pick from what I've seen. And whatever team scoops up is going to get a solid tight end, right? I'm not saying he's going to be a Kyle Pitts, right? The generational tight end for the Atlanta Falcons who had a solid 2021 season. But I think that this guy is going to have a solid career. Probably we might talk about him in 5 years as one of the top 5, top 10 best tight ends in football, just because I love this young man's catching ability for a tight end. And that's the thing with tight ends nowadays. They're starting to become more like receivers, right? So, I mean, either for whatever you might lack in the blocking, right, you definitely make up for in the passing game. I think that's what Jalen excels at. If he can learn to just block a little bit better, I think he's going to be a dynamite pick. But other than that, I like this guy's ability. He did great at Texas A&M, very consistent. And whatever team selects him in the 2022 NFL draft, I think he's going to get a traditional tight end, a great tight end, and someone who you don't have to worry about taking that spot for many years. So I think that he's got a high ceiling, and I hope that whatever team drafts him utilizes his amazing catching building to the highest extent, and he can get a ton of touchdowns, a bunch of catches, and a lot of yards in the National Football League. So be sure, if you enjoyed this video, this episode here today about Jalen Wydermyer, the tight end from Texas A&M, please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We go live twice a week on Facebook and YouTube on Mondays and Wednesdays. We have amazing clips of all of our shows over on Instagram at 100 Football, and of course at our podcast at 100 Football. There is a ton of amazing episodes to listen to. We upload about 2 to 3 episodes per day, amazing football content, draft specials, recruiting specials, history specials, legends interviews, anything and everything football related. It is over there available for you to listen to right now. Close to 700 episodes on the podcast. Just cracked 1,000 on YouTube and 1,000 plus over on Facebook. So please go over to anywhere you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcast, iTunes, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcast listening needs, and be sure to leave a review as well, even if it's just something simple like, hey, I like this show. That's all we need, just to know that you guys are out there, you're digging the podcast, and you are enjoying all the hard work we do and we put out each and every single week, because this wouldn't be possible without you guys, right? We love doing this, talking about sports, but if we don't get much of a feedback, well, it is what it is. But thanks to your amazing, likes, your comments, your thoughtful comments on YouTube are especially just are really good. You guys are absolutely killing it on YouTube with really great comments. So thanks so much for that. But like I said, this has been my NFL Draft Prospect Special on Jalen Wydermyer, the tight end from Texas A&M. I think this young man has a very high ceiling and is going to be an amazing pass catching, touchdown catching, rack catching, right, tight end in the NFL. So we'll see where he ends up in the coming months. I've been your host this morning, Logan Landers. You guys have a tremendous rest of your day, and we will talk to you again on another live video in the very near future. We'll